10. You are a man too. Yes. Please speak. Chloe said, hoping it was an easy question. Before that, I need to get some air. You don't ask questions, just vent at your leisure. Chloe was a little annoyed, but he quickly opened the window and returned. Are any of the employees working in this house blonde? Blonde hair of this length? The Duke said, spreading his hands about 60 centimeters apart. Blonde hair? Although she had almost no blonde hair, it seemed unlikely that she would have that kind of hair in this house where there were only male employees. As far as I know, it's that long. I don't think there is one, but since I don't know all the users, it would be better to ask the deacon. No, there is not. I didn't immediately understand the Duke's words. Of course, it seemed like he wasn't even in her thoughts. But if you already know so well, why did you ask? There is not a single employee in the Wolf's Duchy with hair of this length. No one has blonde hair that bright and soft. Blonde hair about 60 centimeters long and bright and soft. An all too familiar image came to mind. It's Chloe's own hair. But there was no way she was the owner of the hair the Duke was talking about. Because her own blonde hair is completely covered by a brown wig. Still, I had to suppress the urge to run my hand through her hair to check if her wig had fallen off or if she had forgotten to put it on. I am not allowed to hire female servants in my house. Chloe's face darkened at the Duke's somewhat meaningless words. It was somehow ominous that the topic changed from talking about her hair to talking about female servants. You can't even bring a woman into your house. You probably know it well. Yes, I know. Chloe was afraid that her voice would tremble, so she barely answered with her stomach full of stress. And that if you break that rule, you will be subject to a penalty. What on earth are you trying to say? And yet you. Even though I knew there was a trap, I felt like a small animal being chased by a hunter and being driven to the spot where the trap was set. Did you bring a blonde girl into my house? What are you talking about? You mean I'm bringing a woman into my house? Is this what you were trying to say in the end? She attracted women? It was so unexpected that I almost laughed out loud. What kind of crazy employee would risk a penalty to attract a woman to the Duke's residence? Besides, her room is right next to the Duke's office. She couldn't have done that unless she went crazy. She couldn't understand why the conversation took this direction while talking about her sister. Other than that, there is no explanation. I don't know why you said that, but no. That never happened. How could I bring a woman to the Duke's house without fear? Chloe almost jumped up and down to refute the Duke's unexpected false accusation, but was left speechless. She doesn't attract women, but she does it because she is a woman. I found some long blonde hair in your room. I thought that hair was your sister's hair. If you think about it, it's strange that your sister's hair comes out of your room. Hair. This? Whose hair is it? Explain. Ha. You bad Duke. I should have started by saying that the hair came out. Well, I don't know how I could have explained it even if I had said it first. When I went to bed, I locked the door and took off my stuffy wig. That was probably why there was hair left on the bedding. This morning, when I was rushing to leave while the Duke was away, I checked to see if there were any leftover items, but I couldn't pay attention to my hair. It turned out to be a heartbreaking mistake. But how on earth did the Duke find that hair? Did he even go into his own room? Why? Even if he had made a mistake, it was really strange for the Duke to go into his room and find his hair left on the bed. I wonder where the owner inspects the room used by the user. As I said, I hate lies. Yes. Whose hair is it? Who did you let into my house? I do not know. There was nothing else I could say. I do not know. The Duke slowly followed Chloe's words. I'm sorry, I really don't know. I really don't know, Law. The Duke's eyes were becoming colder and colder. Sorry. Duke, I really. There was no way to explain the hair. It's not like there's a hook in the hair, so it's impossible to say that it must have been buried outside. You are a man, so you can meet as many women as you want. Whether you meet women outside or not, that's something I can't do anything about. Chloe was speechless and just swallowed. He said he was a guy and he met a girl. Was the cross-dressing act too perfect? Not only was he dressed as a man, he was now treated as a man who was dating a woman. But you smell like the woman I slept with. The hair in your bed still has the scent of the woman I slept with. So what the Duke is saying now is that his servant is having an affair with the woman he slept with? Driving me crazy. How do thoughts flow like that? Duke, that's... No matter what your relationship was with that woman, I must find her. It's not like that. In the meantime, the one thing she was fortunate about was that the Duke did not suspect that she was a man. Other than that, it's the worst situation. The Duke's personality is also the worst. Since he spent the night with his own servant and the woman who was her lover, he is to give her up. Indeed mine. Are there all these self-centered and one-sided notices? Regardless of whether the Duke's claims were actually untrue, Chloe was appalled. Did the Duke really eat something wrong that night? Like a drug that changes personality? There is no way I could mistake that scent. Even if it wasn't, I thought it was strange. Because I definitely got that vibe from you. If you were seeing her, that explains everything. So tell me. Where is she? The Duke's eyes were burning as strangely as the Duke's strange way of thinking. Like the eyes of an animal that has met its natural enemy. Or, it looked like the eyes of a male in heat fighting with another male over a female. The problem is that the female the male is targeting is Chloe herself, and the male rival against whom the Duke is burning his hostility over his female is also Chloe. No, isn't it right to find the woman you slept with in order to hold her responsible for losing her virginity? Now that I look at it, I wonder if she had a different reason for looking for a woman. Sounds like a man claiming ownership over a woman. Even though no one has ever given him ownership. Duke. Say. She said just tell me where the woman is. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship you've had with that woman. I just need to find that woman. Although he was not considered to be a perfect person in terms of personality, he was a person with common sense and no particularly serious flaws. No, he was known to have a balanced personality. That attitude was very different from the personality the Duke had previously shown. Regardless of whether she is dating another man or not, I have to find that woman. So, what is the woman's position? What do you think of the woman? What is the other man's position? The Duke's blind attitude was now frightening. At this point, she wanted to ask outright what she was going to do when she found the woman. The thought grew stronger and stronger that the reason she was looking for something like that was different from the one she had been frightened of by her own guess. Of course, even if the reason is different from what I thought, it also seems like it would be quite difficult. A woman. What kind of woman would I meet? Where can I find a chance to meet a woman? Don't I work at the Duke's residence 24 hours a day? The Duke, who seemed to have no conscience, seemed pitiful, and perhaps because she thought the Duke might be looking for her for another reason, Chloe was making a big deal out of it to the Duke. Why isn't there one? You leave the Duke's residence for as many as 4 days a month. And I went on that vacation just a few days ago. Since then, you have been smelling like that woman. The Duke seemed to have filled in the place of his morality with delusion. No, Duke. It's a misunderstanding. You're mistaken. So who owns that hair? Please explain so I can understand. As soon as she knew I was looking for her, she suddenly said she quit her job. All of a sudden, she did not even repay the advance salary. Why is that? That's it. I guess it's because you're seeing her. That's a ridiculous claim. If it doesn't make sense, why don't you explain it so it makes sense? The Duke was considering all the circumstances according to his own logic that he had already created. What should I do? How can I get rid of that blind doubt? Aren't you a man too? Yes, you are a man too. There may also be women you meet. Yes, I guess so. The Duke's face was becoming more and more distorted as he spoke. It's as if he won't believe anything she says, and he displays a hostility that borders on murderous towards Chloe. The Duke's ferocity gave goosebumps. The Duke was now openly glaring at Chloe. Dangerous. The current Duke was definitely dangerous. Between the two, there was only silence filled with life and fear. I couldn't think of anything to say. No matter what I say, I don't think those blind eyes will believe it. Still, I have to say something. Anything. Anything to clear up that misunderstanding. Ah. Will this work? But this is so. But there was no more time. He had to cut off his delusion before the Duke's anger boiled over any further. I like men. In the end, without even having time to fully calculate, the words that were hovering at the end of his lips came out. The words she spat out made her face even hotter.